And for the children's talk is taken from Daniel, the 6th chapter, and I will be reading verses 18 to 24. But I'd kind of like to set the scene for the children so that you can understand it. This lesson is about a young man named Daniel. Daniel's name means God is my Savior, my protector. Daniel was overtaken by an enemy and was taken from his home and carried away. That king's name was Darius. And Darius had a plan about how to control the government. He had what were called satraps. Fancy name, means governors. He had 120 that he placed in around the country. Daniel at first was one of those satraps. But he was so good and so effective, Darius lifted him to become an ambassador. There were only 3 ambassadors. So we have 120 satraps, 3 ambassadors, and Darius announced he had a plan that he was going to make Daniel the number 1 ambassador. Well, that didn't sit well with 120 satraps. That didn't sit well with the other 2 administrators, so they began to think in their mind, what can we do to upset the plans of King Darius? You see, they were bullies. You all know what a bully's like, don't you? Somebody that picks on you, somebody that tries to always trip you or knock your books out of your hand. Bullies. So these bullies thought to themselves, King Darius kind of loves himself. Why don't we go and say to him, let's have 30 days where no one in the kingdom can pray to any other god but you. Where they cannot mention anybody's name of authority but your name. Old King Darius thought that was pretty neat. So he signed a law that no one could do those things of praying or talking about someone else. And if they offended the law, they would be thrown into a lion's den. Scriptures say Daniel heard this, but yet he went home as was his custom, and he went up into his little apartment. He opened the windows facing Jerusalem, and he sat down 3 times a day with the windows wide open praying to God. Children, guess who was underneath the windows? Not the king, but those satraps who wanted to be up there important to the king. And when they heard Daniel pray, they ran to King Darius and said, King, Daniel has not obeyed your law. Now follow this. Now when the king heard that this law of his had been broken, it made him sorrowful. You see, he loved Daniel. So the king went to his palace and spent the night fasting. And he had no musicians to try to cheer him up. He also had no sleep that night. And the king rose early in the morning and ran in haste to the den of the lions. And when he came to the den, he cried out with a lamenting voice, saying, Daniel, the king that you serve, has your God whom you serve continually been able to deliver you from the lions? And Daniel said to the king, O king, live forever. My God has sent his angel and has shut the mouths of the lions so that they have not hurt me, because I was found innocent before him. And also, O king, I have done no wrong before you. Now King Darius was exceedingly glad for David, and he commanded that he should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and there was no injury whatever found on him, because he believed in his God. Here ends our lesson. May the Lord add his rich blessing to the hearing of these words. Amen. When I was a child, I loved that. My middle name, by the way, is Daniel. Can you guess why I loved that story so much about Daniel? It was a reminder. Okay. So, yes, I couldn't hear, but that name, it was a challenge to me to be like Daniel. I remember saying, I want to be like Daniel. I want to remain true and faithful to the Lord. I don't want those bullies called the hells to push me around. I want to stay faithful. As a matter of fact, do any of you remember a song? If you don't, I'm going to sing it, and if you know it, join me. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Shine all over Toronto, I'm going to let it shine. Shine all over Toronto, I'm going to let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Now, I love that song too. I have in my hand something, children, that I want to give to each one of you. This is a special set of beads. If you look at them, they look like white beads, right? Nothing fancy about them. But if we had a sunshine day today, as soon as you put this around your neck and you go out into the sun, do you know what happens to these beads? They all change color. Some are red, some are blue, some are yellow, and some are almost like a green. The Lord, who is our sun, can make these beads just glow with various colors. Isn't that a neat reminder to us? If we turn our lives and heart over to the Lord, His sunshine will come and make us bright. These are called magic beads. So I want to give each one of you these so that you can either use them as a necklace, or if you're a young man and you don't want to wear, you can cut it off and make it a bracelet. But I'd love you to, when you get a chance, to take them out into the sun and remember how Daniel stayed true to the Lord, and he sent his angel to protect Daniel. Isn't that wonderful? You know, there's another part of the story I didn't read. We have a teaching in the church that says, that which we wish on others returns to us. Do you remember those 120 satraps that wanted to hurt Daniel? Do you remember those 2 administrators that wanted to hurt Daniel? Sad to say, do you know what happened after Daniel was taken out of the den? They all were put in the lion's den. And there was no angel of the Lord protecting them. Kind of sad, isn't it? But doesn't it tell us how, when you want to be a bully and you want to join forces with hell, your little lights go out? So I'm going to pass these, and hopefully that you can enjoy this. Maybe you can help me if I'm reaching. Oh, I'm going to get them twisted. How about we do this? I'll do the best I can. Nah, it's not working. How about if I give them to you after church? Okay? That'll work better. But remember, dare to be a Daniel. Stay true to the Lord. Let your heart light up and glow for Him. I wish